Welcome back. It's time for the post-match pint. We've just watched Celtic beat Kilmarnock 3-1. We're here in the Radisson Red. It's just a two-man panel tonight, myself and Ryan. Ryan, we'll get straight in it. 6 wins out of 6 in the league so far. 14 or 15 domestic games played. It must be now only one defeat. We're in pretty good form just now, aren't we?
Amazing form. If you think about the start of the season that we've had and being 14 competitive games into the season, it's so consistent. The performance level, apart from that one blip of a week, which we all had questions around about.
Yeah.
You look back now and you can't possibly complain about the start we've had to this season. It's been fantastic.
It's been nigh on perfect. Today, I think I touched on it. Maybe a little bit of a slow start to the game. Kilmarnock, to give them their due, they seem to have turned a little bit of a corner themselves. They went out to Connor's key, and it was a big inquest at the time. I think they looked a wee bit more like themselves today. They had spells of possession in the first 20-25 minutes. How did you think? What do you think of the start of the game? Obviously, do you think it was a bit of tiredness, or do you think Kilmarnock did give a good account of themselves in that early period?
I think, to be honest, it's probably a mix of both. So I think they were probably a bit heavy-legged after Thursday. It does seem to be that the transition from Thursday into a Sunday game is more challenging than Wednesday into a Saturday game. It seems to be, I don't know why, but it's a strange one, but it does seem to be the case. I think Kilmarnock at the start of the season had just changed managers, we can't forget that, and it's probably been a bit of a bedding in period because they did look a bit back to probably kind of closer to a Steve Clarke out team where they were a bit more robust defensively. They had an idea of what they were trying to achieve and get out of the game, and they put it into good effect in the first half, and even latterly in the second half they came back into it.
Yeah.
But probably heavy-legged, probably a bit of Kilmarnock coming on a wee bit of a game. But that being said, we still had a couple of bits of flashes of chances in the first 25-30 minutes.
Absolutely, aye.
And it was good to see that because it showed there was a bit of commitment and drive to try and get the result today.
Aye, we did have a few chances, a few shots for distance maybe. I think Forrest had a couple. He nearly scored with that one down to Brunescu's right hand corner. We obviously went behind in the game. Eamon Brophy opened the scoring for Kilmarnock, but as we've seen so many times this season already, we respond really well. There seems to be a real character about this team that when we go behind we stay calm and then we really start playing, which, okay, you don't want it to happen every week, but it's good to know that the team have got that in them, and it was a great time to get the goal back for Edouard.
Aye, 100%. It was nice to see, just touching the goal that we lost, it looked like Julian was kind of lost in two minds as to where he wanted to be, and Brophy snuck a few yards on him to get in, took the goal really well. And then we seem to galvanise as a squad when we go behind. It seems to give us that drive and impetus to get up there and commit to creating something in the final third, and we really did that. And Edouard's goal, the ball in for wee Jamesy on the left hand side too, I think he was really effective on the left hand side today, and that ball in, and just a striker's header, which he's not
renowned for.
No, he's not renowned for it, but he did really well, put the ball onto the deck underneath the keeper, and that was us back in it at half time, which is really important.
It was a great goal, and I think I want to touch on James Forrest because I said he was really good on Thursday, particularly in the second half, and it was in the second half when Encham came on for El Yunusi that we probably seen him play even better. And I think we touched on that in the Hearts game at Celtic Park a few weeks ago, where we seen Encham and the team, Christie go the right hand side, Forrest to the left, and we didn't think it quite clicked that day.
Yeah.
But Forrest, as I say, done really well on Thursday in the second half in that position, and I think he started this game today from the left hand side really well, and he's a constant threat just now. It was a great ball in for Edouard for the equaliser, and as I say, James Forrest, he's in his physical peak, really good form just now, and he's a real threat every time he steps in the park.
Massively, and I think it's, again, I was talking to someone during the week there, and we were just saying how James Forrest, when he first broke into the team, albeit 10 years ago, he had that knack for always beating his man and going to the byline, getting the ball in. He was probably more known for that then than what he is now. Now he kind of likes to cut inside a wee bit early, and he's probably more known now for goals because he's such a goal threat now, and he really is in the form of his life.
Absolutely. And Cham, as I said today, starting, we've seen some great performances for Olivier Encham off the bench. We know that he's got that quality, and the thing we've always talked about with him is consistency. We just haven't seen that real consistency. week in and week out from him. How do you think he done today in comparison to what we've seen off the bench so far this season? How do you think he done today from the start?
I think that we saw flashes of Ncham what he can give us, but I think throughout the game, if you were to look at an overall performance, he was too in and out. He kind of dipped in and out. There was a couple of times where he just didn't make the right decision, he wasn't making the right pass, and I just found that he probably was more effective coming off the bench on Thursday there, because he looked great for the last 20 minutes, and today just didn't find that consistency through the 90 minutes. So I would say probably today worse than perhaps when he's come off the bench.
I think there's a few times today where he's tried to thread some good balls through the right idea into a channel, and he just didn't quite have enough on them. But we did see, I mean, I think he played well enough. I don't think he played bad at all. The other thing I want to touch on in regards to that is there's always a lot of debate about rotation and how much rotation there should be when you're trying to balance Europe and domestic duties. I think a lot of people hate rotation. A lot of people think, if Neil Lennon had made 4 or 5 changes today, people would have been saying, why has he made so many changes? But when you only make 1 or 2 and you maybe have a slow start to the game, people think maybe we should have made more changes because we're playing in Europe during the week. Where do you stand with that? Where do you think the balance should be between getting freshness in the team, but also keeping a real spine there for these games?
I think at the moment it's working. He's going to be strongest 11 every opportunity he can. He's going to be strongest 11, and it's really working just now. I think as we progress through the season, we're probably seeing Callum McGregor at not his strongest in his Celtic career so far, and it probably is down to the number of games he's played over the last season. He's not really had much of a break.
3 seasons, aye.
Certainly over the last season, where he played however many minutes more than anyone else in club football or whatever. But when you look at the way that Neil Lennon's setting the team up, he's setting the team up to win, so he's going to be strongest 11. You can't fault him for that. There is going to be times throughout the season where he's forced to make changes, and I think there should be times where he elects to make changes. But I think for just now, I'm quite happy to go with it and have the strongest 11 playing as often as he possibly can.
Aye. The other thing today that we've seen, great to get the equaliser right before half time, as I said, great time to get the goal, but we seem to come out and really take it up a gear the first 15-20 minutes of the second half. We got the 2 goals. Moritz Bauer, who I thought was brilliant on his first start, getting forward at every opportunity. He did tire as the game progressed, but he comes inside, lovely slide wheel pass, it was left foot for Edouard, and Edouard slots under the keeper. So really encouraging from him today.
Really encouraging. I think he just looked driven. He looked like he had a point to prove it there. He looked like he wanted to make his first start in a Celtic shirt really count and really stand for something. And he just has, well, we didn't see his long throw today, but he just has this, he's just probably a class above what we would expect to see in Scotland. And he did show a bit of that today. He did show glimpses of that, where he was going past the right back, left back with ease, and zipping the balls into the box. That finished,
put a lot of crosses in.
Finished good quality crosses, where he was dropping it onto the head of Edouard or getting into that sort of spot there where someone can go in and attack that ball. So I think he was really good today.
Aye, and I think it's great to have that option now for Neil Lennon, where El Ahmed's came in, he's done well, but where he needs a rest, Bauer's there, because you think back to last season where it was Lustig, okay, Gamboa was there, but he was never really in contention at any time, and then you were Ralston. So to have that depth and quality there is massive for us. We got the 3rd goal, great header for James Forrest-Branescu, pulls off a fantastic save.
I thought it was in. I genuinely thought it was in.
We all thought it was in, and Christie was there to prod it home. 3-1. After that, though, I think we did kind of take a little dip in the game again. We were a bit sloppy in the ball towards the latter stages of the game. We obviously lost the penalty. That was up your end. There was obviously a bit of anger in the stadium when it was given. What did you think of it? I've not seen it back.
It was quite. It was one of those ones that it just happened in a blink of an eye.
He slid in.
He did slide in. It did look a bit ominous. It looked like it probably was a penalty.
And the referee couldn't wait to give it, of course.
Aye, of course. But I couldn't watch it back yet. I've not watched it back, so I don't know. It would be nice to see it back. It did look it looked dodgy. It looked like Scott Brown plunged in. And if he took the man, if he didn't, the guy played for it and he got the penalty.
Aye. We haven't seen in recent years as Celtic goalkeepers saving penalties frequently. Fraser Foster's been back for 3 weeks and he saved 2.
Aye.
Okay with the first one against Hearts, they knocked a rebound in, but brilliant to see him claw that away today. Then I say that was probably the most interesting bit of the game, because the crowd were a bit feisty because they felt the injustice of the penalty, and the big man saved it, and then we nearly went up the other end and got a 4th. So brilliant to have a goalkeeper in there that can pull off those kind of saves.
It is, because like you said there, we've missed that. We've not had someone who, when someone steps up to take a penalty, you feel that we've got a chance of keeping that ball at the net. It's always been that if it's going to hit the target, it's going in. And now we feel like with Fraser Forster back in between the sticks that we could save this. It might not be a goal, right? It's no the final straw. It's no definitely getting in the back of the net. And the big man pulled off a belter, a save, and the celebrations were almost like a goal, weren't they?
Aye.
It was really good.
Well, he's faced 3. I know he faced 1 against Niang on Thursday. Then he saved that 1. Faced 3, saved 2. If he keeps that sort of ratio up, we'll be absolutely fine. To round up then, great to just get another win. There's going to be so many of these games throughout this season where we're coming off a European duty on a Thursday, going into a game on a Sunday, and just so important for us to grind out wins. And that's not to take anything away from the performance today. It was a good performance. We won it comfortably in the end, but that's all about just chalking up the wins, and we're doing that with ease just now.
And we have to continue to do that with ease, because if you look at the middle of the table and the teams perhaps last season that were challenging for points and taking points off of both Celtic and Rangers, it just isn't happening this season. So we're now in a stage where both teams probably won't drop many points throughout the season, so these games become ever more important and we have to keep chalking up the points. Fantastic start to the season, long may that continue, but let's just make sure that we're getting 3 points on the board every single opportunity.
Aye, and that's what we're doing just now. I think if you look across the league, Aberdeen, Hearts, Hibs, everybody looks a bit worse off than they were last season, and you would nearly fancy any other team to be taking points off of us or Rangers. So it's just about that consistency. On to Wednesday now, do you expect to see even more changes? It's the Betfred Cup. We're obviously playing Partick Thistle, who are struggling in the Championship, managerless I think as it stands. So how many changes would you expect on Wednesday?
I don't think we'll see wholesale changes, because I think that Neil Lennon likes to go with a strong squad. I think it would be nice to see Edouard rested. I think it would be nice to see McGregor rested. Might be nice to see Forrest rested. And maybe it'd be nice to see Greg Taylor get a shot. So I think if anything, I would say maybe 3 or 4. I think it's going to have to be Neil Lennon putting out the best squad to get the points. Partick Thistle are obviously going through a tough spot.
No, the points, progression.
Progression.
The cup.
Points, what am I talking about? So progression in the cup, definitely no points. But they're going through a tough spot. It's not going to be that challenging a game you wouldn't expect. You'd expect we can take care of them even if we change the whole squad. But I do think that maybe 1 or 2 changes is going to happen.
It's about that balance, isn't it? That's the thing we touched on. We touched on earlier. It's about getting that balance. I suppose you don't want to change the whole team, and then you've got 11 guys there who have got absolutely no cohesion because they've never played together, and then you end up in a sticky situation that could be avoided. So going to be interesting to see how many changes there is. You can find out how many changes we think there'll be in the starting 11 prediction on Monday for that game. That's it for the post-match pint today. Like the video, comment with your own thoughts on today's game below, and please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. You need to scroll down and press that red button down there. We're nearly at 19,000, so the quicker we can get to 19 and to 20, the better. Thank you for watching all of the content today, and we'll see you on Monday for the build-up to Partick Thistle. Thank you.